The first one is this: God, grant me perspective to know my place compared to you. Let's look at Proverbs 30, verses 2 through 4. It says, "Surely I am a brute, not a man. I do not have human understanding. I have not learned wisdom, nor have I attained to the knowledge of the Holy One. Who has gone up to heaven and come down? Whose hands have gathered up the wind? Who has wrapped up the waters in a cloak? Who has established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is the name of his son?" His son meaning Israel in this case. "Surely you know." My interest in Agur particularly, and where I discovered this passage, came after hearing a lecture from Old Testament scholar Bruce Waltke, who has done a lot of research on Agur as well, and come to the same conclusion that we don't know a lot about him, but he has a lot of really good stuff to say. And he says, among the many things that Agur teaches us, he teaches us that human beings on their own do not know how to behave. Did you hear that? Human beings on their own do not know how to behave. As you dwell on that, you might think, maybe we should be offended by something like that from Agur. Of course I know how to behave. I know how to act when I go to work. I know how to act when I go to school. I know how to act when I'm at home. I know how to act when I'm driving in the car, although sometimes that can be questioned by some of us. I know how to act everywhere I am in the world. When I'm standing in the shopping line, I know how to act. Agur tells us the opposite. No, we don't. He's giving us perspective. I think Waltke's onto something. Because ultimately, we're all selfish when we get down to it. We all have moments where we think we know better than others and where we know better than God, and we act accordingly and act in pure self-interest only. That's why I started with, do not add to his word, Agur said, because sometimes we think we know more than we do, so we add or change or amend. But we don't know all that much compared to God, Agur tells us, and that's a chief concern of his. But sometimes we act differently. There's a joke that illustrates this. Some of you know it. I'm quite certain of that. There's a man who lives in a floodplain, and a 100-year flood is coming up. It's about to get to his house. Police car rolls up and says, "All right, buddy, and the next day, your house is going to be flooded. Grab some things. We'll get you to safety." He says, "No, it's okay. God's going to take care of me. God will save me." Next day, he's in the second floor of his house because the water has gone into his house. Boat comes up and says, "Look, buddy, jump in the boat. We'll take you to safety." "No, it's okay. God's going to save me. It's all right." Next day, he's on the roof because the flood is that high now. Helicopter comes in, tosses the basket out. "Get in the basket." "No, it's okay. God's going to save me." And he drowns. Stands before God and says, "God, where were you? You said you were going to save me." And God looks at him and says, "Look, I sent you a police car, I sent you a boat, I sent you a helicopter. What more do you want from me?" Sometimes we think we know better than God.